Samuel Akwo Adelowo, today's guest, leads a startup nonprofit working to end poverty for youth in West Africa by training them to use computers, install solar panels, and become entrepreneurs. He'll also share insights about his superpower, integrity. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. Samuel, thank you so much for joining me today. It's such a great opportunity for me to meet you. Thank you.
Me too, Devin.
Well, good. Samuel, you have launched a nonprofit called People Concern International that is striving to help people in Africa, especially young people, overcome the challenges of extreme poverty. Tell us more about People Concern International.
Well, I was born in Cameroon and I had the opportunity to serve the Peace Corps. And during that time, we had the opportunity of working in the rural areas on their project called Small Development Program. And throughout my life, serving and doing things which are basically in business, as I studied business and all that, I've always put more emphasis to the young generation. And as you know, in Africa, the rate of unemployment presently is alarming. It's over 40% and above. Nigeria is a case study. So I traveled to Nigeria and many other parts, and I saw the need that young people had the potentials, but they didn't have the resources. And most of the things that are happening around, like trying to take the risk, dying in the oceans, and some even passing through Libya, that touched my heart as a compassionate person. So we initiated People's Concern International here in Dallas with the main goal of assisting, looking for compassionate human beings, people who feel that the young people are the leaders of tomorrow. And David, as I can tell you, if you go to Africa, you see what young people are doing. Uh, they just need encouragement and they will do more because they have those potentials.
Yeah, it is interesting as I have traveled around the world, and I've been to many countries, including 5 in Africa, but not Cameroon. Uh, that I see that human beings have so much more in common than what separates them, and you can see in the eyes of a child that complete human potential, can't you? You see their ability, their innate ability to become whatever they choose to be, if we give them the tools that they need to realize that potential. So, give us an idea of some of the things that you're doing at People Concern International to enable that and facilitate that transition to realizing their full potential.
One is that the government, I used to be a business consultant. I was recruited by the country, Cameroon government, where they launched a program which was supported by the French Agency for Development, where they were giving loans. And I was recruited as a consultant where I was training some of the people who had this opportunity to obtain loans on the basic uh, programs like how they could run a business. So we had to do basic things, accounting, marketing, and all those things that will help them start. Well, also, when I served the Peace Corps, the AGOA program came up where they wanted people to uh, uh, process raw materials, add value, and export to the United States. That again, I participated uh, to help them because the standards were in the United States needed for them to do things which will enable them to sell. Recently, when we launched People's Concern International, I traveled to Nigeria as a case study because in Cameroon, now where I come from, the Anglophone section, there are crises going on. So for the risk, I traveled to Nigeria as a case study. I met a lot of young people who there's a young man who did architecture and he's designing packaging. I saw the ones who were trying to do farming. I saw the ones who were trying to do things like soap, making soap, and the ones who were also studying computer, trying to provide the services. But like we know, African governments, I'm not political, but they don't always provide a good plan for the young people because capital has always been the problem. But Devin, as I'm telling you, these young people, they cry. I have responses, emails sent daily saying they need help. And we all know, like my mother used to say, I'll end this. He said, when you deliver a child, you sleep in the night. If the child is crying, you too will not sleep. So the problems now call for people like us to really touch hearts, really help. And I'm telling you, it will be amazing because Africa has those potentials. Call it in the domain of agriculture or the domain of new technology or in trade or what they call selling of products or many other sectors. They are really doing well. They just need the boost.
Yeah. One of the things that is important, I think, for us to discuss, and I think it's a bit of a difficult conversation, and I hope you'll be patient with me for this conversation because I think it is important. Um, but for generations, people who look like me have gone to Africa trying to help. And I'm excited to see you as a native born Cameroonian returning to Cameroon with American dollars to support economic development in Cameroon and elsewhere in Africa. That excites me because I think you have inherently a better ability to do it right, to do it correctly, to do it in a better way. If it's not so much right or wrong, maybe it's just better. Um, but at the same time, it seems to me that if I defer all of the responsibility for Africa to the folks like you that represent people who have left Africa and have prospered and can now go back and help. It seems like that's wrong too. Help us think about how we work together, folks like you and me, to do the best that we possibly can to help Africa.
Thank you very much, Devin. One of the things I've always promoted in my work has always been the spirit of integrity. I remember as a young man, I came to United States in 1981 when I was invited for a conference. And I came back after that. And a lot of my friends have said, oh my God, how could you leave heaven, United States, and come back? So I incorporated the spirit of integrity. And the people I work with are people who know that when you provide a blessing to people's life, when you are honest, I've achieved a lot myself because I had to prove to people that what is important in this planet is for people to be themselves, is for people to know that when you do bless people or provide something to people selflessly, unconditionally, it will come back to you. So most of my friends I'm trying to connect up in Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon have always been people where we are promoting what you are doing, that we should leave a mark in our life. So these people, accountability, like us, People's Concern International was registered here, and we already have a piece, is it a CPA, who is also a godly person. He's so religious, and I've told him that I'd like things to be transparent so that this funding that we may be having from friends, because when people bless you, know that those monies are meant to be channeled to the right resources or the right sector. So I guarantee you that uh, the loss of lives are there. And when people keep that, I couldn't have this awareness for over 40 years. I'm 60 something now. I just want to leave a mark in the world for the younger people who will come to remember that somebody initiated something for the good of humanity.
Yeah. It seems to me that the it's important for us to work together across traditional barriers. But do you think that's important?
Of course. And one of the things where I've been targeting, most times, if you look at African cities, a lot of people leave the rural areas to come to the cities looking for jobs and so on. But where most of the resources are in the rural areas. So when I was in Cameroon, I carried out a project with the uh, councils, rural councils, where we're training young people that they could do things in their areas and they could live even more better because the resources, land, they just needed that things should be done rightly so that they can live a better life. So we can work. I believe in partnership, and I also love collaboration. Uh, it is just for us to work and target the right people, and the results will be tremendous.
That's a great point. Uh, Samuel, you have spent so much of your career doing good in the world, in the Peace Corps and since. I congratulate you. I honor you and I express my appreciation for the work that you've done. As you think about what you've accomplished, I wonder if you could tell us what is your superpower?
Well, David, life, as I earlier said, is has a law, and I call it the one law. Uh, One of the things I've always, even when I was teaching, I used to tell my students, and they have kept a very good link with me, is that nothing in this planet that you do, that life will not repay you. My superpower, if I should use that word, has always been that I've gained a lot of things. I told you a story how I came in 1981 and went back. And after that, I traveled to Canada, South Africa, many meetings. I was coming to this country twice, even yearly. So I believe that the power of integrity, the power of expressing love for one another will open doors beyond your understanding. Because one of the things every human being wants from another human being is trust. When people trust you, as I'm telling you, I have my children here in Africa. What I was earning could not bring even three children to study abroad. But doors opened out of the love of other human beings because, and I keep telling many of these young people that do not engage into activities which will not leave even your family name or your country, like what we used to read on the news. But when you do something right, you will meet the right people. I'm honored that you have interviewed Bill Gates and you are interviewing somebody from Africa who lived with the mother. The mother did not have anything, and he was able to travel around the world. I've even had jobs that I was not qualified for, but people believed that I could do them. And at the end of it, I accomplished the task. So my superpower is to express integrity, the spirit of integrity in anything you do, no matter what it is. If you go to a toilet and you meet that that toilet was dirty or a restroom, make sure you clean it and leave. the next person who will come will be blessed because he will meet that restroom or toilet clean.
That's a great reminder. It's a perfect example of kindness, and I think a profound way to think about integrity. Right. I want you to reflect for just a moment and think about examples of when you felt like the good outcomes you had, especially in serving others, came about because you were demonstrating integrity, your superpower.
Well, I was living in a town called Edea, and a young man, Peter Bean, was working in the Peace Corps. And he came and he was doing an assignment in the cooperative. And we met at the post office and we became friends. And he came and discovered that I was somebody to be relied on, and he recommended me to the Peace Corps. I had a first degree, and I had done many courses around the world because life itself is a university. It teaches you things that school will not be able to teach you. And when I went there in that competition or things they were doing, there were people who had higher degrees than me. But because he loved me and felt I could do what I would do, I was recruited. Also, an example about I was contributing articles in the newspaper and in my country, talking about the spirit of integrity and reporting things about marketing and entrepreneurship for young people, how they could exploit that in their life. And I was recruited by the government that I didn't have where there were doctors, people who had PhD. But that article made them to recruit me so that I could provide that to the children. So what I'm saying, David, is one superpower is when you do something right at the inner of your core, when you know that the whole universe will support you because you are functioning something beyond your own control. After all, the life we have, we didn't create it. We were created by a higher source. I'm not in any religion like this. But when love, you express love, it goes beyond anything. It doesn't know any religion. It doesn't know any limitation. So that's my superpower.
Oh, that's a great message. Um, how would you suggest that I and others work to emulate your integrity, your love, your superpowers? How do we be more like you, Samuel?
It's simple. Uh, my mother didn't really go so much in school, but he used to say, when you throw something out there, it will come to you. We live in one breathing planet. It is holistic. We are one family. In ignorance, many people don't know this. And I believe when we express kindness, we do things that we bless, the world will become a better place. So, like I'm saying, Africa, we can't do without Africa. We can't do without the young people. We can't do without any other country. We are committed, we have been bound to live as one family in this planet. So people like you, I read your history, and that's why I connected with you on LinkedIn. People like you who are compassionate are blessing this planet. And all of us will always be remembered. I guarantee anyone that you will not be remembered with a big bank account you have. But I think if Bill Gates is doing all he's doing, he knows that he has been blessing every family in Africa around the world. And not because he's a billionaire, but he is knowing that if one family is blessed because of what God has given him, he will always be remembered, that name. So, and you, to emulate me, let's just bless this planet economically, spiritually, and otherwise. And we'll see the difference, no matter how small.
No, that's a great message. Great message. Thank you, Samuel. Well, Samuel, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, and I'm excited about the work you're doing with People Concern International. I wonder if you would just take a minute before we wrap up and tell the audience about how they can learn more about People Concern International, how they could connect with you personally, or how they can follow you on social media, but help them find you so that this can be a lasting impact for you.
It's simple. First of all, we can be, our office, we have our number is 469-570-3139. Then you can also go to our website, which is www.peopleconcernint.org. On Facebook, I'm known there as Adelowo Samuel Akwo. But I know then also we could be reached at 1512 Catcourt Lane, Phoney, Texas, 75126. And most people, what I would do, which is different, I just want to be unique. People can touch me even through you, and you can reach me. And I guarantee you that you will see the things. Already there's an orphanage. People are begging me. Children are already, because of the crisis in Cameroon, living in towns in horrible conditions. And they are begging People's Concern International whether we can build homes for them, provide them the basic necessities. And most of this work will be, when we start, they will be showed live so that people can see in social media what we do. Because I believe when one is transparent, you touch the hearts of people and people will trust you too.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, Samuel, thank you so much for being with us today. We wish you every success in the great work that you're doing.
Devin, I don't know what to say. I know God has brought me to you. And the word God to me just means life. That sometimes when we do things even in our rooms, reading something which you come out, and like here in my neighborhood, most of the people used to go to work, and I'm walking, and I will just think that I need to pick up their trash can and drop. And recently one of them said, there's somebody dropping their trash can in their homes. How does this happen? I said it wasn't a spirit. It's a human being who felt that you were at work and that he can be a blessing just to put your trash can at your doorstep. Let's bless this world. The world needs people like me and you. And I thank you. I've read about you, and I know People's Concern International will be blessed because of you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, let's do some good. Thank you for tuning in to the Superpowers for Good show. Twice each week, we host changemakers who share their impact, insights, and superpowers. Don't miss another episode. Subscribe today at superpowersforgood.com. That's superpowers good.com. Be super empowered. Get your copy of the book, Superpowers for Good, as an ebook, audiobook, paperback, or hardcover edition via your favorite online retailer. Interested in having me speak to your company, organization, or association? Visit devonthorpe.com. Then let's talk. Now, keep using your superpowers for good. Together, we can reverse climate change, improve global health, and eradicate poverty.